Good afternoon, everybody.
Howdy,
Welcome
howdy.
again to the Patriotic Dragon Radio Show. It is, what day of the week is it? I can never remember. Oh, it's October 29th, our show here. I want to welcome everybody here to the Patriotic Dragon Radio Show, a show to bring honest, open, and thoughtful conversation back. Ideas and opinions from and to our community about topics from across the spectrum, allowing groups and individuals to be a part of the process for a better, brighter future. We want to educate, inform, and inspire. Opinions and views expressed during the show are those of the guest and not necessarily of the Pickens County GOP, WYYZ, or the sponsor. The sponsor this month is Aspire to Inspire Before You Expire.com, a website dedicated to the idea that we all aspire to be more than we are. We are all inspired by something or someone, and we all have time to matter now. Please join us with your stories of inspiration, aspiration for today and tomorrow. I want to thank our sponsor, Radio WYYZ, and also Rocco's Pub for letting us be here at the facility. A couple of announcements before we get started. First off, I want to welcome back my friend and neighbor, Jim Harris.
Good to be here.
Bill Cagle, thank you for breaking the law to get here. The only speeding law is the only thing you did, and that's allowed in every county in Georgia. And David Leister, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Some announcements. November 3rd, City of Jasper elections for City Council position. Tony Fountain, the incumbent, and Kirk Raphael running for that City Council position. And, of course, the East Blost tax for the education school for something we're not really sure, but they're working on that part of it. November 7th, we will be at Jeff Dobson Auctions. During the day, Jeff's got a huge gun auction with antiques, estate sales, well over, I understand, 1,000 rifles, pistols, antiques, that type of thing. We'll be there selling the raffle tickets for our December 7th Second Amendment gun raffle and rally that'll be here at Rocco's that Monday night at 7 p.m. So please stop by and see the facility at Jeff Dobson Auctions, and also buy your tickets for our gun raffle, where we'll be giving first prize is an AR-15 law enforcement model. Second prize is a Glock 43. Understand those are a hot item. Third prize is $200 in ammunition of your choice. We're also prizes that we're giving away is Bill Cagle and his counterpart, or will be providing gun class for rifle and for the pistol at no charge, which is $159 per class value. And then Appalachian Gun and Palm is going to be giving away some door prizes as well. So please come out and join us for that December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. All right. A couple other things. November 11th, Veterans Day. Please, when you get a chance, thank your veterans who've served in all the military forces. Generally, we have a parade in Jasper and raising and resting of the flags. You get a chance, please attend that. If you haven't gone, it's something everybody should see. New venue starting November 5th. We'll be moving to Buffalo Luke's about 5:15 at the shopping center where the across from Home Depot where the AT&T store is at. John Rogers and his group are having us move up there. Looking forward to a new venue, and we'll be there on Thursday nights at 5:30 recording. So please join us. All right. See if we can get into this now. A couple of topics. I want to start obviously locally. The East Blost. We talked about on the radio show a couple of weeks ago. I think we expressed our opinions, and now we've had some people voting, and early voting, by the way, does end on tomorrow afternoon on that, and then you can vote on the 3rd. From my standpoint, and the question I want to pose is what money is actually needed, and then how can we do the funding on it? So, Jim?
Well, that's a good question. What money is needed, because first of all, you got to define what it's needed for. And that doesn't appear to be something that anybody knows anything about yet. Like we were discussing before everybody else got here, I talked to some people voting when they left. And I asked a question, do you know what you just voted for? Had no idea.
Of course not.
Do you know where that money's going? No. Do you know how much it is? I thought they said, but I don't remember. And it's incredible that you're going to vote for, what is it, $20 million?
30.
Up to $30
It
million.
went to 30, yeah.
And they could borrow up to 20.
That's right. So here we go. And who's got control of that?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think they've appointed anybody for that. And it may be the lady who did the Marble Festival. I'm not sure. They may tap her a week or two before it's time to
I
vote.
just find it incredible that we are throwing money to pay other money off. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah.
So it's a self-prophesizing
Well, I
fact.
say ditto to what my friend Jim just mentioned, and that what it just says on if you haven't seen the ballot yet, it just says for technology renovations, whatever to each school. But is it going to be $3 or $4 million per school, or is it going to be how and why? There's no budget that say we need to renovate this school due to this, and it's going to cost $1 million or $500,000. This school needs technology upgrades to the tune of $250,000 or $5 million, whatever it is. Show me the number, or as in Jerry Maguire says, show me the money where it's going. Show me which school is getting what and why.
That's it.
So, and again, as Jim kind of alluded to, we can borrow up to $20 million, which means that the school system takes out a loan for $20 million, and guess who's held accountable for that loan? John and Jane Doe taxpayers.
That's right.
So if we, for whatever reason, they don't raise the East Plus doesn't raise the money, we got to pay for it, guys. So know what you're voting for.
Yeah. Now, last time I looked, I don't think they do bonds at no interest rate.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think they usually get paid for loaning you the money.
Yeah.
So, David?
Well, I'm sure they had hearings for this East Blast, right?
I must not
Any
have got
notes?
the
Any
memo.
place?
Where the
I don't
public
know.
participated in it.
And that's kind of another problem there, David. The school board meetings, I don't know where they're held now, what time they're held now. They used to be at like 4 o'clock. Well,
Yeah,
all of
go.
us working folks, it's kind of hard to show up. And I think that's probably done for a reason.
Well, it might be because the school board and the other administrators also work 9 to 5, and they don't want to be there till late hours in the evening.
That's not our problem. The taxpayers' problem.
I just gave you an option.
Oh, that's right. That's one night a
Yes.
month.
Now, back to the East Blast. Was that submitted by the school Board of Education, the school system, or is that something our commissioners did?
Had nothing to do with the commissioners whatsoever.
Not the county
Not-
commission.
It was
Okay.
it was generated, stipulated, published only by the Board of Education and the school superintendent's office. That's where it got cooked up and poured out.
Well, I was at the Tea Party meeting 2 nights ago, where a member of the school board actually came to listen to the presentation because one of the topics dealt with the Board of Education and the fact that they were these Pickens seniors
Right.
who want the tax exemption. They were just concerned that they hadn't been able to communicate with the Board of Education. That member, Mr. Lowe, was there, and he said, well, have you ever contacted us? The individual said, well, I've sent emails, but I've never had an answer. His reply was, I never received an email, and he's 1 out of 5. But they didn't, he didn't have an opportunity to answer, how do we communicate with you? Because we can't walk into the meeting and say, oh, by the way, I'd like to speak.
Yeah.
You have to give everything in
That's
advance.
Yeah.
And back again, staying on topic with the East Blast, where were the meetings? Where were citizens, taxpayers involved in making the decision that they could have our permission to borrow $20 million and have us responsible for it? These are things that we need to work out in our local government, because this feeds up. And that's why, my opinion only, our national government is so messed up, is because we've started just turning our heads and saying we're too busy. And once politicians, not elected officials, once politicians realize that they can get it over on us, why wouldn't they? They're human, just like us.
That's right.
And so we really need to press our local people.
Surely somebody, not you, Shirley.
Thank you.
Surely somebody has to know what went into that $20 million. I mean, you got to add these all up to come up with a figure. What's in it? How many schools?
Yeah.
How much technology? You're going to buy 1,000 computers or something? I don't know.
Well, and to put some clarification on, I did have an opportunity. The chairman of the Board of Education, Mike Cowart, did contact me about 2 weeks ago on Friday afternoon, about 10 after 5, after he finished his regular full-time job. And we had a conversation about the East Plus and my comments and our comments on the show about voting. For the most part, all of us have voted against it. And I still didn't get a good clarification, but what I did offer Mr. Cowart was either to come on the show before November 3rd or immediately after, whether it fails or whether it passes. Because if it passes, we definitely need to educate the citizens and get it out on every airwave and format we can, so that hopefully the citizens will not be like Nancy Pelosi and we got to pass it to find out what's in it and then not get invited to know what's in it till they implement it.
Excuse me, but this is the recording before, so let's assume he's going to come after.
Yeah, because like I said, I offered and I don't see him here yet. So, but from the standpoint of the funding, the East Bloss, as is written, allows collection of 1% sale tax for up to $30 million in collections. Of that $30 million, they can preemptively go out to a bonding agency and borrow up to $20 million in bonds that up to the $30 million collections would pay off, including that interest that I talked about. But the same thing, without a plan, then the $20 million in bonding or the $30 million that we potentially could collect in the 1 cent sales tax is still an arbitrary number with no defined purpose, no timeline to spend it either. So if we have an issue environmentally, or they haven't found the piece of property or the topography they want to use it for to build a new school or to do the technology upgrades, what's going to happen with that money during the meantime? Are we going to invest it in bonds for some other school who actually had citizens plan something? Or is it just going to sit in an account and draw like I do 1.9%?
If you're lucky.
So, those things, hopefully after November 3rd and the election results come out, a pass or fail, we will ask again in person and in writing to have somebody from the Board of Education on to explain. My comment to Mike was, and I respect him tremendously, we're on the advisory board for 3 of the Chattahoochee Tech campuses together, was I hope it fails, and then I would like to turn around and have citizens involved in that decision. And
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the second thing is, and it's in that same line, of course, locally is, and David, you touched on it, and Bill, you did too. How do we and parents in this county have a voice at the Board of Education? At the meetings, like I say, timeline when they're having the meetings. What is the process for parents to actually have some say-so, other than to submit their questions, then get up in front of the microphone and change what they're going to ask? and play what CNBC did last night. Got your questions. That's a whole nother subject.
That's a whole nother subject.
What do we, as a group, I know how I'd like to see it done, but I'd like to throw it to you, Jim, as far as citizens. So you've got a grandchild. You finished with the kids in school. You got them through it, but you've got a granddaughter who's in the school system here, and I know you and your wife do a lot of things to help her along and making sure that she's getting the best education you can provide, and you hope that the county does their part.
Well, you see a lot of things when you go to visit a school on a day when in my case, my grandchild is going to be performing something or presenting something or doing something, and there is an incentive there to, like any person who has any grandchildren, they're more important than anything else. Than whatever they need, you get them. But you back away and you say, what do you need first? I can't, it's like when I was, when all my kids were in school in California, talk about a place you really don't want to go to school, a public school in California was, they didn't have 3 shootings a week. It was an abnormal week. And that's why we moved.
Yep.
Company said, let's go. And I got out of California as quick as we could. But I think we all understand what it is we see through our children's eyes, what's going on in school. And then we see what's going on from a business standpoint, what they need of children going through school, technology-wise. And why can't we put those two together? Why isn't there somebody on the board maybe who has that responsibility to look at these two things and marry them together somehow and say, this is what we really need to be doing, the directional input to this school next year and the year after, and here's what we need to do it. And why can't we get in there and talk without having to sign off on something 5-6 weeks in advance? Go ahead.
And the reason you can't is because there was a very long period of turmoil at the Board of Education meetings, where you had a lot of irate citizens, parents who were showing up, and they were demanding to be heard, and they were being heard, but they were screaming, and they screamed for more than 10 minutes.
Imagine that.
Well, having been on the receiving end of that in the past, there's a limit to how much you can actually handle as a human being.
Sure.
So a lot of that was done.
And I was going to say similar to that, they've been on the planning commission, and you've been chairman. We've had the last 3 years, we've had a few extended meetings and having some drama, and you've got to put a limit on it, because what happens is, I say this respectively, it's almost like a herd mentality. Everybody's got their complaints, but it's kind of like getting to Rocco's from Jasper. There's about 4 or 5 different ways you can get here. Some go about it a longer route and more as a direct route, but you're still getting to Rocco's. And same thing there, it gets so repetitive. They have the same gripes and concerns. I'd say more concerns than gripes. But it's like beating a dead horse. So you do have to put some limitations. I understand that fully. Because like I say, I've been on that end, and I guess one of the things that I'm guilty of is letting people talk a little bit too much. But
are they doing anything to screen what is being asked to be talked about when they? Is there somebody who's receiving all these requests?
That's why they ask for a week. There's somebody that looks it over and they pare it down so that they limit the topic.
Right.
And they don't.
So you don't have so much repetition.
Sure, exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah.
If it's the same issue, it should be the same request.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But show us the paperwork. Show us the line items.
Yeah.
I think that's where there's not a lot of transparency, and when the school board they're an elected body. The superintendent, it's kind of like we were talking about with the lady up in Kentucky that didn't want to
Do her job.
Right. She knew, if you know what the job is going in, then and you say, you know, you give empty rhetoric to the public that we want community involvement, we want parents' involvement, but then you have your board meetings at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody's at work or just about to get off work.
Right.
So, you know, you're talking one night a month, make it at 6 o'clock or 6:30, and suck it up and go. I mean, you know, grin and bear it.
And they had been that for a while, but they just changed.
Yeah.
But, you know, one of the things that I admit, I've been to 2 Board of Education meetings in the 8 years I've been here, and I've watched a couple, but executive committee, when you go into the executive meeting, you have 3 topics you can discuss. We don't have any guarantee that that's it. When I was in my elected position, because I've never been a politician, because I don't have the personality for politically correct.
You don't have a poli-sci degree like Stephen, has it?
Yeah. Anyway, one of the things I required was that it be recorded. And I asked that it be recorded for the sole purpose of keeping everybody honest. Because then you would definitely limit who was going to talk about things that had nothing to do with personnel, real estate, or legal actions.
You rubbed some feathers the wrong way, didn't you, by doing that?
Constantly.
Good for you.
But I sleep at night. I don't worry about that.
There you go. Well, what I'd like to, first off, Stephen Hall, thank you for making it. I know traffic is tough, and especially if you come from a western town.
I tell you.
So, you look good tonight. I mean, you look good every night, but you look good.
Business
You look
tonight.
ex-
I mean, I
yeah.
like this.
I hate to tell you this. The 31st is Saturday, so I'm just. Unless that was what you were doing today. I mean, if you're not going to a party, I ain't messing with him. I'm just saying.
Are they real? That's the first thing, before you criticize anymore.
Oh no, I can.
There is a party going on, and it is here.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Secondly, man, y'all start early.
yeah, we do. Yeah. We're practicing for being on the Board of Education. So, with that being said, because I know, David, you got to bolt out of here to go see one of your precious children entertain and inform people.
They're going to entertain me.
From the Board of Education
where do you live
standpoint,
at?
and what we're talking about with the BOE, what I'd like to do to challenge our Board of Education would be, and like I say, we got Mike Cowart, Byron Long, Daniel Bell, Delane Lewis, and then there's one other lady, and I apologize for not knowing her name. I would think, Miss Anderson, I would think that if those Board of Education members reached out to 10 citizens that they actually talk to individually in their part of the county where they live, who are parents or concerned citizens who want to have input.
Not a part of the PTA.
Yeah, not a part of that's not a part of the PTA, but actual citizens with children. I think they would probably get better input, and so more citizen advisory boards seem to, especially when you, like we're talking about, if we can publish notes for this show and I can email it out, I think pretty much either has email or fax or something, or if I'm 4 weeks out, I could probably get Dan Poole to publish it in the paper and have the subjects that are going to be discussed at the next BOA meeting to let people form their opinion, gather information, and maybe some options. Just a thought. But let citizens who are traveling and doing different things, different involvements, like we're talking about technology. I would say in this county, I know of at least 5 or 6 people that actually work for technology companies that could turn around and have some input on what's new, what's current. Certain times of the year, there's probably people in this county just like myself or Bill who actually go to trade shows. It's amazing what you can learn at a trade show versus taking one source and making that your decision. So I challenge our BOE to get more, let us say, regular citizens involved.
Agree with that.
And do it that way. Taxpayers, yeah. Next thing I want to get into and stuff is I want to skip over one of the subjects I was going to talk about, which was police violence. I want to save that for another show. Yeah, we'll do that at our next next recording at Buffalo Loops. But I actually got some thoughts on and some things that came back on that stuff. But we had from the 14th district, we had last week's guest was Mickey Tuck, and David, since I know you've got to bail out, and Steven's is gonna step in as your quarterback replacement. Your perspective.
He could never replace him.
Who can, David?
He said that. I didn't say
Oh,
that.
we're taking charge of this team now.
Is you heard what Mickey Tuck had to say? Anything that you'd like to offer, being a previously elected official, for somebody who wants to become elected official at a not much higher level than you had, but a higher responsibility level to the citizens?
Yes. Anybody that's never held public office feels confident that they can come in and make changes and make them in an expeditious manner. But you can't. There are so many rules and regulations that bind you up like a block of cheese. And you're not able to do the positive things. And we all have, great thoughts of what we're going to do. I was going to annex roads so that Nelson could survive in the future. That was just blocked, and it's still being blocked today. You try, but expect that you will be attacked, not just because you're wrong, but just because you're there.
That's it.
And people have a habit of, if they disagree with you, they can and do get very nasty.
No,
and
I-
have
personal.
a thin skin.
I also think that Nelson is a different animal than most small governments. Am I correct on that?
I don't know. Have you been to a DeKalb County meeting lately?
Yeah. No, I don't agree with that. I believe
Well, I think, and I to that point, I actually think that Nelson wants to think that they're at the same political drama level more than anything.
Drama's created for the most part. So you can create it on a really small scale, or you can get just really stupid, which is what DeKalb County's done. But
Nelson wasn't my only experience in the political realm, and while I don't have the vast experience you have, I do have the personal experience, whereas you're more like a voyeur. And so I can tell you
With guns.
The best kind.
So
No, last week
good.
they were making fun of me because I had a BS in poli-sci. So today I'm being called a lawyer with guns. So I think I've stepped up my game.
you have stepped up your game. The gun.
Just wait till next week.
Yeah, that's right.
but you still have the BS.
And that's important. That's very important.
Absolutely.
And you don't use a teleprompter, which I'm really proud of you for. You don't use a teleprompter.
Thanks. That's right. That's where my stuttering comes in. I might want to get one else.
Bill?
What was the question again?
Mickey Tuck, our guest for last week.
Mickey, I liked what he had to say. I mean, again, I for the most part, I think he's got good intentions. I think he's a decent somebody. He's got good. Sound like he had good raising. Talking to him a little bit after the show, and he's a nice guy. I think he's upfront, honest, and I think he's got sincere ideas. And but I just wonder if he's really fully aware of the establishment and the special interest and what he'll be up against. And there's been several elected officials from Georgia over the last 20 years that went up there with the best intentions. I think they were just as decent as the five of us, and honest as the five of us sitting at this table. But they get up there for a few years, in some cases a few months, and they forget where they came from. So, but if he can keep rooted and grounded, and that he answers to the 14th district, and only those people, not now Paul Ryan or the majority leader or anybody else in Washington.
Or anybody who's got a Gulfstream who'll let you fly somewhere with them.
Exactly. If he remembers that he is responsible to the people of the 14th Georgia District, he could, even if they send him up there, reelect him just to be a thorn in the side, then hey, I hope he's the best thorn in the side of Washington D.C.
Jim?
I was not here.
I know.
My experience with county, state, whatever business was in California, because where I lived, there was a citizens committee in Rancho Cucamonga, right north of Ontario Airport, that we had representation on that county board. And when Kaiser Steel shut down, they were looking for a usage plan for that. Mm-hmm. And everybody got involved in that, and a lot of input from the community was that Riverside Racetrack, which was next to March Air Force Base, was just being encroached on by homes. So they tore Kaiser down, and that became the Riverside Raceway.
Riverside Raceway, yeah.
Now the same thing is occurring because it's being encroached on by businesses and homes. So now they're going to have to make another decision. But the process was very open. You went to a board meeting once a month as a citizen representative, and you got your 5 minutes to sit there and say, yeah, I agree with this plan or I don't. And you just told them why. You didn't argue about it. You just told them why you disagree with it. And somebody who was in the know kept that information, and the people or the power brokers on that commission would look at those, and the next meeting they would come up.
Okay.
It's something that you can't do in 5 minutes. You can't argue for 10 minutes and solve a problem. And the more you yell, the less you're going to solve.
That's right.
So,
unless you're going to be heard.
That's right.
So for our local elected officials, a citizen representative from different parts of the county might be something that we want to consider.
You have a number of people here that are retired, and they are by no way, shape, or form old and useless.
That's right.
They have a lot of ambition. And I'm not saying I have a lot of it, but I like to get involved.
That's a good point.
You cannot shut out a good portion of the population by saying, no, you got to have somebody who's going to be full-time at that. That's a bunch of bull.
Yeah, well, the BOE members, they're not full-time anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, it's all part-time, so
I
you
think
that input from other seasoned citizens with a lot more years of experience than some of the board members would be a good thing, not a bad thing.
We've all been in business. We've all had responsibilities and different kinds of responsibility.
Which is key.
Some are financial, some are engineers,
That's right.
They've all got an opinion.
Yep.
And my wife has one too. That's it.
That's it. And hers is right.
And hers usually
That's right.
hers is what matters most.
Number one commenter there. Yes.
As my wife stares at me across the room, saying, "Yeah, that's right."
Just get prepared. After 32 years, I don't even think about it anymore. I go, "Yes, honey,"
50
because
years.
and every time I go, but I find out later she was right. So what's the point?
Yes.
So, all right.
It's just cooperation and talking civilly to everybody else to get things done. You can't too much politics.
Isn't to the point all across the table though? Isn't it the fact that our local leaders, our local commissioners, and our mayors, right down to our school board and even dog catchers, they're missing that power. We talk about a lot of the Gulfstream effect, where you've got now this power, and we're asked that our congressmen and women do more than just the district. And we're talking about things that are outside the Constitution that they're asked to do. Take on things like education. Take on things like energy and what have you. Things that if they're not directly linked to the security of this nation, we still ask them to do it. Yet, so if we flinch, if we jump, if we do anything, we're not asking our local officials to do it anymore. We're asking our federal ones, because we're bypassing the whole process and going straight to the top, because that just seems what's logical. Yet business doesn't work that way. Our Constitution, our country wasn't designed that way. And I'm fearful that, and as I'm hearing a lot of the conversation over the past few weeks about the speaker and whatnot, I'm hearing more and more about the fact that they're not looking for somebody as a name, as a figure. They're looking for the process to be reformed. So whether we're talking about Congress or we're talking about our local leaders at the commissioner level, we need to understand that before we jump and before we our knee-jerk reaction goes, let me call my congressman on that. How about, I mean, a lot of times I refer people in my own work to their state representative, to their county commissioners, because that's their responsibility. And we have to be aware of that. Everyone has to be aware of that. And
Make them accountable.
And that's the thing. There's just so many variables that have gotten us off track and have allowed us to, again, the knee-jerk reaction is just to think, well, my congressman will handle it. And yeah, then we wonder why they're taking off in these multi-million-dollar jets and whatnot.
I thought you were going to advocate that our county commissioners and mayor and all that get Gulf Streams or something, but you know.
No, not at all.
Oh, but if anybody wants to fly through and pick them up, we're okay with that.
You know, that's the thing. We've got the mentality now that we got to call the government if we want to get anything done, the federal government.
Yeah.
And they're responsible for my security. That's all they're responsible for.
Yeah, maintain the roads, the borders.
Everything
and-
else
and the-
is us.
And I don't know why that has seemed like it's become more of a.
And I'm
prevalent-
sorry, that's a GOP view. I shouldn't be saying things like that.
Oh, that's American citizen.
That's right. That's right.
Because I would take it away from a lot of the GOP in Washington.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's the process, not the people. That's what I mean.
But that's become more prevalent in the last probably 15, 20 years to go directly call your congressman, call your senator. You forget about the elected officials. I think some of that may fall to blame on our local representatives because once they get in office, do you ever hear from them really? There's very few town hall meetings or very few open forums for people to, come out and talk and hear about the hot issues, whether it's here in the county or at the state level or what have you. So,
You know who I think it's responsible of? Our teachers, our education system.
Really?
Or, yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
a good
I can go with that.
good chunk of it when you're talking about the majority of a state budget going towards education, and yet you're looking and trying to pinpoint one possible thing that's the biggest upset in the state at the same time. It's education.
American history and civics. It's
Dumbing
amazing
down
what
of
the
America.
Yeah.
But again, why is that? Some of that goes back, I think, to the Department of Education. As far as getting the federal money and all that, you got to follow certain curriculums and what have you. Is it by choice from the local government or local educators, or is it because of from the state and federal agency? Or
I mean, when you've got our school systems now saying not only are we going to provide you lunch, not only are we going to provide you breakfast, we're going to talking about dinner. And we cheer on our teachers
and send them home for lunches for the weekend.
We cheer our teachers when they go out and they're providing lunches for kids outside of the school system.
I have to go, but I just want to get this in because this is a topic near and dear to my heart. They've rewritten history.
Yes.
Yep.
They pick and choose what part of that history they teach. They... I just lost my train of thought, and I can't stand that. But the teachers are trying. They're doing what they can. But when you're looking to put the blame on any particular area, it's us.
Yeah, we've let it happen.
It's us. There is no. You said somebody gets elected and they have power. Nobody elected has power. They have authority and they have responsibility to the people that elect them. And that's it. Anything above that is abuse. When you get elected, you were sent there by people, citizens, who say, this is what we want our government to do. And when you get there and you're perverted by the established thought process, then you're no longer living up to your oath of office. which is to uphold the United States Constitution, the state constitution, and whatever charter you have with the county or a city.
And what I meant was, and I
good
do
point.
actually agree with a lot of that. And
Are you saying I can go now?
You're excused.
well, I mean,
Excuse. Bring a note tomorrow, please.
by the way, I just for the record, I am not holding him down by guns. So though I have guns on me,
You have two guns strapped to your hips, and I'm leaving. Okay? Take care. Thank you.
All right.
See you next week.
but yeah,
Take care.
I think this whole entire conversation is just about right on with the fact that, and what I meant more by power was that is the act of responsibility. They are given that power through the elective process, and
But
David
it's
was
also up
correct.
to us to hold them accountable so they don't abuse that.
And yeah,
And that's
and
where-
I think we're going
Yeah.
going in circles here by recognizing all of the variables. But let's be honest, it took us 200 some odd years to get to this point. Yeah, there's a lot of variables now that I love it when somebody goes and says, well, A, B, C, D is wrong, and they're not pointing out the entire alphabet. The rest of the alphabet that's wrong. That's
And- yeah.
totally into this.
What happened to all the open forums you used to have when I was growing up? The mayor in the town and the people in the county they all had a newspaper column they wrote to once a month. Let the community know exactly what's going on.
And I'll talk about at the state level. I've seen that with Rick Jaspers. I know he
Yep.
posts.
He does some
He does
in the
it.
paper on a regular
Updates.
basis.
Yeah, Steve Gooch does it.
especially
We need that.
during legislative
No,
session.
Collins, not so
But
much.
yeah, we do need those from our local officials. We do.
You don't
need-
hear them. You don't hear from them on a month-to-month basis. I have not heard what's going on in the county from the elected officials.
Yeah, and I guess the glaring thing that I got caught one time recognizing was the fact that you had, I think it was during the budget process for the city of Jasper, and nobody showed up. This was if you were to show up, if you were to tell yourself, which meeting do I need to be at the most? This was the meeting. This was the pinnacle meeting to figure out the entire budget for the rest of the year. Nobody showed up. And I think I think that's evident across our participation in this process, and it goes back to all of those things.
Well,
There's-
what were we talking the other day? About certain groups that they like to complain, but when it comes time to meet
Yeah.
and greet, where
Yeah.
are they?
Yeah.
Well, that you had said. What was that response you had? It's easy to gripe, but
Oh yeah, it's easy to complain, but it's hard to assemble.
exactly.
Yeah. And that's the other side of that is breaking it down to more like Jim was talking about they had out west and stuff, where you have a group of citizens who turn around and 10 citizens talk to one BOE member. That one BOE member takes those 10 opinions and takes it along with the other. And then you got 50 to 55 opinions, which after some of the meetings we've tried to put on for citizens in this county, that's a better turnout that way than
Yeah.
you have when you have some organized.
Yeah,
So-
that'd be a
so-
good idea to have. Like Becky Denny on our side. Have something going on at Tate School or the Tate Gym or the Masonic Lodge at Marble Hill or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Barnes can do something out at the community center out in Hinton,
Yeah,
once a
and-
month or every once a quarter.
What city do you live in?
Live in the incorporated city of Jasper,
So which planning commission meetings do you go to?
the county,
I-
because we don't have any say so
You're not
on anything.
Anything at all.
We're,
You're
we're in
right.
the only part of Jasper we're in is the post office.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
We're not in Big
frustrating.
Canoe
I thought you
either.
was in the suburbs of Tate.
Well, we
It's
are.
Suburbs of Tate.
Yeah.
We're in that metropolis
Yeah.
down
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Well, I'm in the suburbs of Marble Hill, so
Well, that's true. Yeah. So,
We kind of go into that Sleepy Hollow. We get lost. We don't. We disappear at night.
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Over that ridge there.
yeah.
But that's an issue because you want to get involved, but you're not going to ever get asked to come up and join the Jasper Planning Commission because you don't live there. You live someplace
Right.
else, but you're affected by it.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, you're
know,
still able to go.
Well, you can go and listen, but you
Yeah.
can't really do
Well,
anything. 'cause
but
that's,
at least you
know.
can hear firsthand what's going on.
I went to one a long time ago. And I
Yeah,
don't remember.
I've been to a few, and they were semi-entertaining, informative, not so much.
yeah.
Entertaining,
I
somewhat.
kind of like Board of Education meetings. They are fun.
Yeah. Well, back, kind of want to come back, circle to on the 14th district, Mickey Tuck. I talked to Mickey a couple times. He came to our Tomato Fiesta this past summer when he was first starting to look at getting in the race. I know Tom Graves, our current incumbent congressman. Well, the one thing I would say to Mickey is reach out to other people, elected officers out there that to have some feedback, have some experience, like Doug Collins and Rick Jaspers, Steve Gooch, other people around the state. It doesn't have to be just in 14th district. There's a lot of good experience and some legislators who've done good things. And for the most part, I think we've got some that have held their moral ground. They've gone against the establishment, which to me is always a good rule of thumb to see if somebody's got the backbone that I'm looking for. Because that's what this great nation was built on and built for, was the citizens, not the establishment. I think we're going to actually cut the show a little bit short tonight. We do have some events here at Rocco's. So I want to thank everybody for being on. Stephen, I'm voting for you, man. I'm voting for you in that outfit.
I just want to say that I've worn this attire now for a majority of the past few days. Out of 5, I've probably worn it 3 times.
Have you won anything?
And that's the problem. I have not.
We need blood or something on you.
tired.
I mean, you look
Where's
like
your badge?
yeah.
So, well, and I'll get you could be impersonating a police officer at that point. So
No, they get the
break
big,
law.
huge plastic one. I'm like, come
You
on.
let your mustache grow out a little bit thicker. You look like White Earth.
I bet you're beautiful.
Have you met my wife?
I bet your beautiful bride has some mascara. We can
Yeah,
work on that mustache.
That's no.
No White Earth look. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
All right. Well, like I say, we're going to cut the show a little bit short
It's been
tonight.
fun.
And Jim, thank you for being on. Bill, thank you for being on. Stephen, thank you very much for coming in and covering for David, who left us. I mean, what are you going to do? All right.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Thanks.
The word of the day should be involvement and transparency.
There you go. And one other thing is our friend Craig Stallings has added on a few shows and stuff. I want to add something as this gets broadcast and streamed and podcast. Please, if you don't know how to use your signals on your car as you change lanes, take a driving course, but use your signals, you morons. Have a good evening.
I thought you were going to spay and neuter your pets.
I'll leave that up to you, Stephen. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you. So we are meeting down in Woodstock. Is that where the Buffalo Luke's down there?
No, it's the one up here.
Oh, up there, the other one. Okay.
TNT store.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, right in front of
Oh, that's right. Used to be the old KFC place. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Matt's gonna go over there. We gotta figure out whether we're gonna do it in one of those booths things in the corner where the sound will be there, or they've got like curved tables. So I think that's probably the better format.
What time are we?
We'll try and record at 5:30 there. We'll move it so everybody's not rushed quite so much to get there.
Okay, I have to go home and help the boss who's painting the garage floor.
Isn't that done? You wait a little while. Should be done.
Well, I can do that. I want to sleep tonight too. All right, you have a good one.
You too. Just for notes and stuff. Next week, the one thing we're going to talk about is the police violence.
Yeah.
What we got to do, and I think Bart Conley's going to be on next week. He's in the sheriff's auxiliary, support group. So he's going to talk about the citizens group where you can go, like we're talking, where you go ride with the police all night. So
Donnie Craig involved in this?
I don't know, Don. I don't know if he's weird about showing up and doing this, but we'll go with Bart and him and get the information out there on the citizen group.
Take care.
Let's play.
Be careful. Thanks.
Be safe. Afraid to see it later. Do what?
It's a rubric.
Take care.
Yep.
No, it's a it's cool.
Hello, darling.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Thank you for letting me come out and play with us, folks. Yeah, we've got some events coming up. We'd like to make sure that the community knows about, an opportunity to be involved. Coming up here on December 7th, we've got our Second Amendment gun raffle and rally. It'll be held at Rocco's Pub and Grill on down on the south end of the county at 7 p.m. that Monday evening. We'll be giving away an AR-15 law enforcement unit and a Glock 43, some ammunition, and a lot of door prizes. The tickets are $5 a piece, and if you go to the Pickens County Republican Party website or Facebook, you can find the number to call. We're also selling tickets at Mary Ann's. We got tickets available at the Trout's locations. So the money from this event is going to go to scholarships for a 2016 graduating senior from the high school, as well as some other groups in the county that we're going to be doing some donations to. So looking forward to that. Then in February of 2016, we're going to have the Sock Ops, which is a group out of Marietta that does 50s, 60s, and 70s style music. That event will be at Chattahoochee Tech at the Technical College. Going to be an evening of music, some fun, and just come out for fellowship. And those of us who are old enough to remember dancing on the gym floor, we'll enjoy that. And those not old enough, come out and have some good laughs watching the seniors do our thing with awesome music. We have our meetings for the GOP the second Tuesday of each month, and we normally have them at the Pickens County Administrative Building. And want to welcome everybody and ask everybody to come out for our radio show that we're now doing here on WYYZ. We're doing it at different venues around the county. This month in November, we're at Buffalo Luke's restaurant, recording on Thursday at 5:30. Come out for great food, get involved, and want to be on the radio show. We like to have drop-ins. Last night we had Commissioner Rob Jones stopped in for a few minutes, and so we had fun with him. And looking forward to having Rick Jaspers on the show on the Thursday, the 19th of November for the recording as well.